Hi everybody, my name is Spike Brave, and in this tutorial I'd like to talk about the scouting gameplay mode that was added to faction play in MechWarrior Online. Recently they've added a faction play, and I do want to take a second. We can see that we have a call to arms pop up. I want to point that out. That will become important later in the video. So if I click on this, it will accept the call. So I want to take the opportunity, since it's up, to actually address it. So if I wanted to go play scouting right now, I could click on this and would accept a call. So keep an eye for this. It'll tell you what faction it is. So Clan Smoke Jaguar, what planet Thule, and the mode scouting. If this was invasion, it would say invasion, or attacking or defending or whatever. So you can see there's two scouting matches now, so I could click on either of those and get in there. So that's the call to arms, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. But let's talk about the game mode. What the game mode is a 4v4 mode that allows smaller groups of players to engage in faction warfare. Now, I wanted to make this video as soon as possible because I think this is a really important change to faction play. And I do want to say that if I say faction warfare, I do mean faction play. When it first came out, it was faction warfare or community warfare, and I may fall into that. So keep in mind that if I say that, I do mean faction play, and I apologize for any slips I may make like that. But what makes this mode so important is it allows solo players and people in smaller units to effectively participate in the mode and get rewards from the mode without just getting crushed by large competitive groups. I think it's very important. And so I want to retract a statement I've made in the past where I have cautioned new players against going straight to faction play because they may have to face these well-organized, well-equipped teams and just get crushed, and it's very frustrating. Faction play's new scouting mode kind of takes some of that out of there. You still may face a team, if you're like me in a mercenary unit that has one person. I'm technically a solo player, but it throws me in the group queues. You can fix that by going through careers. I will talk about that in a later tutorial. In this tutorial, as I said, I just want to focus on the scouting mode because it's so important. They're still messing with the UI, so I'm not going to go through quite yet and do UI tutorials because I see bugs, I see problems, I see little tiny glitches. They really don't affect gameplay, but it's not polished, and I know they're going to fix it, so I don't want to have to do these videos and the next patch comes out and then redo them again. So keep that in mind. I will update those at some point in the future, and if you're seeing this after I've updated those, it's already been done, so don't worry about it. But let's talk about this new mode. It's 4max. The attackers come in and drop ship. They drop, and they start seeking out information nodes. These information nodes remind me of a surveyor's tool. They're a big yellow tripod, and they're just kind of sitting there. If you stand next to them for 3 seconds, you download one data point. Each map has 20 data points on it. The maps that you'll see will be the same maps that you see in Quick Play. There are 40 locations in which data points could spawn currently, and then they pick 20 of those randomly, and they're populated with data points, and then you go out and seek out the data points. The more data points you get, the more advantages it gives to the attacking and defending forces in the invasion mode. So keep that in mind. You're actually affecting the invasion mode. I'll talk about the changes to the invasion mode in a different video. Just know that get as much data as you can. You help out the other members of your faction that are fighting in the invasion mode. They get better sensor information. They get satellite sweeps, and then they also get a free artillery strike occasionally. So those are the benefits they get, and we'll talk more about those in detail. So as you can see, here's another call to arms, and we've got, again, our faction. So Smoke Jaguar, it's on the planet Thule. This is the invasion game mode, and they're attacking. And you can see it's Smoke Jaguar. Here's our icon versus the Draconis Combine. Now, if you were, say, aligned with Ghost Bear, you would also see this alert because it's clans helping out. If you were aligned with one of the houses, you would see that it's the Draconis Combine, so you're just helping out another faction in that way. So, as you can see, we've got another invasion attacking coming up. So, there are call to arms. As I said, those will be important in just a moment. So, let's continue our talk about the game mode. So, we collect these data points. What will happen is if the currently, if the defender gets 11 points, the dropship comes back to extract the attackers. If the attackers get 10 points, then the dropship comes to get them. So that's what triggers that dropship coming in. And then, of course, towards the end of the match, when there's, I believe, 3 minutes left, the dropship will just come back in to retrieve the attackers. So your goal is, of course, to collect as much data as possible to help out your faction. But to win, what you need to do is, if you're the attacker, get off the planet with at least one data point in your possession. If you're the defender, you must stop the attackers from leaving. So there's a couple different ways that this can play out. Destroy the other team. It's a great way to win. If you wipe them out, you win. Except for if you're the attacker, you still have to reach the extraction point. What will happen is a dropship will come in. There'll be an area on the map that's highlighted with the kind of ring that goes around our bases and capture points in Assault and Conquest, and it has a big gout of green smoke in it. Now the attackers will have that marked in the map, the defenders won't, so if you're defending, keep an eye out for that smoke. After a few minutes, it's currently 2 minutes, they may adjust times, so I don't want to commit to any time, so any of the times or amounts that I'm saying may be subject to change, but they're not going to change how the game mode works. So, dropships incoming, it takes 2 minutes to get there, it'll stay there for a while, I believe it's a minute, it might be 2 minutes. If there are attackers in that area, when the dropship leaves, he takes them. If they have at least one data point in their possession, they win. The defenders can win by stopping them, either preventing them from getting to that extraction point or destroying them all. I will show a couple gameplay examples, and in the mode where I'm defending, that's actually what happens is we draw the attackers into trying to kill us off, and they don't make it back to their extraction point, so they lose the match. So please keep that in mind as you're playing, that the goal is to get those data points and then get to the extraction point or stop the attackers from getting to the extraction point for the defender. That's the objective, and in this mode, even a single person can get those objectives, so keep that in mind. If you've wiped out the defending team and you're the attacker, you still have to get to that drop point, so keep that in mind. It's very important. I've seen a couple people lose matches because they didn't understand they need to get back to that drop point, so make sure you get close to that drop point as soon as possible. That way you can run in there and be extracted. So that's very important. If you have won the match, the second the dropship arrives, the match is over. If you're at the extraction point, if you have some defenders up, you have to be in the extraction point when the timer runs out. So keep that in mind. Those are those differences that you'll see there. So keep in mind how that extraction point works, and we'll talk about it one more time just to be 100% clear. If you've annihilated the defenders, if you get to the extraction point at any time, the match just ends. If there are still defenders up, you have to be there when the timer runs out. So just want to make that clear. So let's talk about how we get to the game mode. We'll start by clicking on the call to arms here, and that'll take me out to the faction play tab and then straight to the planet that we are going to. You can see that we have this nice little selection screen that talks about our drop deck and all that stuff, and again I will cover that in a different video. I just want to show you how to use the mode. So for scouting, there's a scouting tab, so if we come up here at the top left here of the pop-up that talks about the planet information, click on scouting and see my drop deck just has a Jenner 2C. If I want to change that, click edit. I get a screen very similar to the mech selection screen for quick play. Pick whatever mech you'd like. In this game mode, you can see that you have to bring at least 20 tons. You can't bring more than 55 tons, and it is only one mech. So a light or medium mech and only one. So we'll close that up, and then what we'll do is we'll come at this the other way. We'll go back to home, and then I'll click faction play. You see it's really similar when you come in like this if you haven't gotten a call to arms and you just want to look. So I know there's stuff going on Thule, so if I click on Thule here, you can see it's the same kind of information. Attacking the factions involved, so Smoke Jaguar and the Draconis Combine. If I click on that, we're back to that same screen. And it's been my experience that this defaults to scouting. That may change, but there we go. And then here we can see that the attackers have 41% of the info and the defenders have 59%. So that gives us all our information about that. When you're ready, hit the button that says Scout, and you'll go into a little lobby. You can see I'm in here by myself. This will fill up with 4 other players probably very shortly, so I want to cancel out here as soon as I can because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up because I am making this tutorial. I can still edit my drop deck here, so I can still come in here and change things if I need to. And once this fills up with 4 other players, there'll be an opportunity for the opposition to get 4 players, and then it'll launch the match. So this has been a look at how we get to actually playing the match. And you can see if I don't want to play, I can hit that cancel button and then confirm that I want to cancel out of the lobby. And it will take me back to the inner sphere map on the faction play tab. So that's how you get to the game mode. And now what we'll do is I have a couple matches, one where I'm the attacker and one where I'm the defender, and we'll show actual gameplay examples, how the matches played out, and give you some tips and advice. Again, I think this is a really important change to community warfare. I encourage you to try it out because they have kind of made it so that newer players or players that don't necessarily have as much time or equipment or gear can get in here and be successful and start reaping the rewards of being in faction play. So let's take a look at those matches, and what we'll start with is a match I played as the attacker. Alrighty, as you can see, we're ready to start our match. We're dropping onto Grim Plexus, and we don't do a great job of collecting intel, but we do win. So as you can see, we're in a drop ship, so we'll drop in. I am going to leave the sound on for this one. I usually don't do that because I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. But for this one, I'm going to leave the sound on because you do have a commander that does give you directions on what you're supposed to do. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, the mode is collect stuff and get back, but you do have that thing you can see under the lance indicator on the top left. It's telling me what my objective is. So right now we're just going to go out and we're going to look for the data points. You'll see me jump up every once in a while. I'm just trying to get a look to see if there's some around nooks and crannies and wherever else. This is one of the locations they can spawn, so that's why I decided to go this way. But we'll just keep going here, and I do see one up ahead of me. Do look to my right to make sure there's one that's not closer, and we'll get up close to it. As I said, these remind me of surveyor's markers, but your mileage varies on what this reminds you of. So if I stand next to it, you can see I get that little bar that says it's downloading. It's now complete. I get the data point. You can see the counter in the top center next to the time. Went up, so that's how much intel that we have. It actually says intel on it, so I do see an enemy mech, and I don't want to engage him straight on because he is a 55 tonner, but I do have that Arctic Cheetah with me, so I decided to start engaging him, and at this point it becomes a pretty good little brawl here on this capture point. Try not to circle, as always, same advice that I always give you, don't circle. Try not to take a lot of fire. I don't think I will stand up very well to that trebuchet there, so I'm just trying to take shots and move in and out. We got some artillery smoke, so I'm going to stay out of that. I am aiming for legs because the point of this mode is to get away. If I leg them and I can't finish them off, at least I can get away. I can see we'll finish off this trebuchet pretty quick here, and then we'll start engaging the Raven. Trying to use those rocks for cover. And we finish off the Raven here, and then we jump up, and we encounter a Shadowhawk. You can see they have gotten enough intel to trigger the dropship coming back. Now we have a minute before the dropship arrives. Up on the hill in to my right there, you can see that green cloud of smoke I was talking about. That's where we need to be in 40 seconds when the dropship arrives. That's where he'll be. And we finish off that Shadowhawk, so I'm going to go up there because I want to be close to that when the dropship arrives because I don't want to get left. So I kind of swing out to use the hill for cover here. I know there's one more enemy mech. I don't know where he is. So I want to let that timer get as close as possible to 0 because the dropship will show up and he'll fight. He's not nearly as powerful as he is in invasion mode, but he still packs quite a punch, especially for only 4 mechs. You can see I'm just using the buildings for cover. I just want to keep moving because I don't know what else is left and I don't want to be a target. Now you can see we have a minute 12 seconds. So some of my times were off. I said it was 2 minutes. They do adjust this frequently, especially when it's new. So times may change to make the game mode more fun to play, but you can see we've got a fire starter. I'm just going to hang out in here because I want to be in here when that timer goes off. I don't want to be chasing him around because everybody else is. So I just stay in here. I take some fire doing that, but that's okay because I want to make sure that we actually make off with the points. You can see that we killed him, and I was in the center when he died, so it automatically ended the match. Had he stayed up for the next 30 seconds, it would have ended at the timer reaching 0, and we would have won there. So here's the end of round screen. Now what you'll see is you don't get as many rewards because the game mode is only 4v4 and it has to do with your actions. So don't expect as much rewards as you normally get for playing matches that have 12 or more mechs in them. So keep that in mind. Your rewards will be a little bit lower, but the game mode is kind of fast. You can see here's our team stats, just like the other game modes, and then finally our faction stats. I'm playing as a mercenary right now, so these are the mercenary points I got. So let's talk about being a defender. Alrighty, and finally for our match where we play defense. As you can see, I'm on a team, and I have 3 other players who aren't in affiliated units, and we're facing off against a team from MS. They're known to me to be pretty good players, so to me it speaks to the fairness of this game mode that 3 guys playing solo can take on a team and still win. What we do manage to do is bait them into not returning to their dropship. Capturing the point here, you can see about the download thing again, and at the beginning of the match here, we just go ahead and collect our intel. Another point here. You have to be pretty close. You can see I'm having a little trouble staying close enough to get the download a couple times when I'm trying to take those intel points. I'm just at this moment just looking for more of those intel points to gather till somebody makes contact. The strategy that the other team uses here is completely viable. What they do is bring a little bit heavier machines, and they intend to wipe us out. It's completely a valid playstyle and very good tactic. It's definitely something you can strive for, and a good way to try to control the match there. You can see them just still capturing intel. But what does kind of bite them a little bit is the fact that they're not fast enough to get to the drop zone after we started engaging them when they're trying to get there. So still just looking for more intel right now. I'm not seeing any hits on the sensor yet. I'm just looking around at the scoreboard to see where everything's at. I'm just swinging out wide here because the intel points are starting to get a little thin, so it's hard to find them. Sometimes this is a little dull from the standpoint of action. It's fun to play when you're capturing the points and trying to race the enemy team to get more points. That's quite entertaining. Not great for when you're trying to do a video like this and you're trying to provide commentary when all you're doing is looking for the points. Sticking close to my teammates, that's always good. Try to travel in groups of 2. You don't want to be all by yourself if you bump into the enemy. We're just coming through the city now, looking for more capture points. Here we go. Got a hit on my radar, so now I'm going to start moving in to help assist in the fight. They are kind of far away. They're up there kind of on top of the... near the top of the airport there. So we decided to go engage here.
New target acquired.
As you can see, they're pretty, don't want to say heavy because they're mediums, but they're have quite a bit more weight than we do. So here I just go to engage, and I'm going to try to do is keep as many rocks between me and them as possible. And again, hit and run. Don't want to circle, taking pot shots where I can. Trying to go for legs because they have to make it back to their dropship. So if I can leg them, they won't be able to do that.
New target acquired.
Just doing some target switching to see what's going on there. Got this blackjack, and I'm trying to take his legs. The shorter machine, so it's a little bit of a harder shot for me.
Heat level critical.
Got him legged, and we'll finish him off here.
Heat level critical.
So that's the end of that blackjack. Now you can see it's they've killed 2 of us. We've only killed 1 of them, so definitely swing into their favor there. Their medium pilots are quite good, and they've got really good builds for hunting light mechs, so those medium pilots are quite good. I'm trying to keep them occupied. As you can see, they've got a minute to get to their drop zone, so I'm trying to provide a really tempting target. That's why I took the overheat, because they've got, at this point, 45 seconds to get back there. Now, I knew I was about to get legs, so what I did is I jumped into the water to get them to chase me away from their drop down, drop zone and then drop that artillery
SRM
strike down,
critical
hoping to
damage. SRM destroyed.
bait them into chasing after me, which they didn't chase after me. I think that mech that shot at me thought he'd killed me, but I'm still alive, so they have to get to that drop zone within the next 22 seconds, and
Field
myself and the other Jenner on my
25%.
team were trying really hard to engage them and prevent them from getting there. Um, I'm not at all afraid to go in charge with this leg mech because I'm hoping I'll make a good enough target. I still got real good armor on that leg, and being in a clan mech with an XL, I can lose that other side torso, so it'll take them a moment to kill me. And as you can see, they've run out of time and have not reached their extraction point, so we win. So that's been a look at these two different game modes. I hope you've enjoyed the look. As always, I'll show my score here, but I hope this is helpful for new players. And remember, this is a game mode I feel is appropriate for new players, so go ahead and give it a try. As always, have great luck on the battlefield, and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll just take a look at my score here. Again, a little bit lower because we don't have a full team of 12 mechs to do things to earn points, but again, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope to see you on the battlefield, and thanks for watching.